ما أريد من هذا الشعب إلا أن يزيد في الحمد والشكر إلى الله عز وجل، ويزيد من محبة الوطن، ويزيد من العمل ومضاعفة العمل لما يسعى فيه من خير له وللدولة والأهل. هذا اللي أنا أدوره من الشعب، وربنا إن شاء الله يوفقنا جميعا على ما يحب ويرضى.
Yes, I would like to thank the UAE and the rulers of the UAE for a fantastic job that they've done over the last 18 years I've been in the country. They've set up fantastic infrastructure to live very nicely very nicely.
Welcome everyone to your favorite program, Pearls of Union, which invites the most successful people here in the UAE. Our inspiring guests have moved from the darkness of challenges to the light of success. Our inspiring guests have set a title for success and ambition. And our special guest for today is Mr. Giacomo Bernardelli, and he is the founder and the CEO of Casinetto. Welcome, Mr.
Thank you so much for inviting me today. It's really a great pleasure to have you in my warehouse, in my office.
Thank you so much, sir. So please, sir, in the beginning, can you introduce yourself to everyone? Tell us about your career journey and the significant milestones you have achieved.
My name is Giacomo Bernardelli, and I'm from Italy. I'm 44. I'm from Italy. I'm from Roma, where I grew up. I studied economics in Rome. But since a very, very young age, my dream has always been to open my own company. So when I finished the high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I still wanted to open my company. So I said, the best thing, if I don't know what to do right now, is to maybe study economics. And that's what I did. So I studied economics. From being an average student at high school, I was good, but I was not the best. When I started university, I suddenly became a very, very good student, getting very, very high grades and so on. And university came, but I still didn't know what company I wanted to open. So I had the chance and the opportunity, thanks to my professors, to apply to the banking world. And it was the third year of university. I had the chance to go to London and do an internship in Morgan Stanley. And that's where my career really started. It was a summer internship of a few months. It was like a sudden wake-up call into the work industry. Very tough, but also very, very inspiring. After that, I came back to university to finish my school, and I was offered to join again the bank. Yeah. So at the end of university, I went back to banking. I spent the next 5 years in banking in London and in Dubai. But still, my dream, also in banking, was to open my own company.
Yeah.
So then, when in London, one day I was in banking, where working in banking is very tough, long hours. It's an amazing experience. Very smart persons, very competitive, a lot of work. You learn a lot, fantastic. But then one day, my boss back then, George McCool, he said, "Why don't you join me to open the UAE office in Dubai?" It was 2006, and I said, "Why not? Let's go." I had never been to Dubai. I still was craving for some adventure, some new environment, a bit more kind of adventurous. So I went. In a matter of a month, I was in Dubai, and that's where I spent 2 more years in banking here. But then Dubai was such back then in 2006. In those years was everything was happening. There was a lot of ferment. There was a lot of ideas. The energy level was very, very high. So that's when I started thinking about opening. I started thinking more seriously about some entrepreneurial projects. And that's when I, with a couple of colleagues from other banks, we decided to open a media company. I had never done media, and I was very young. I was 27, and I had no clue about the real kind of world in terms of doing a company, running a business. I had just very strong theoretical background in terms of like running numbers, but in terms of running a company, I had no clue. So, but then, I mean, I just really wanted to do it. So at some point, we decided to open a company. It was a media company and rent-a-car company together. We were all very young, all very inexperienced, and we immediately started not having a fantastic relationship between partners. So 1 year passed, and I said, okay, enough. I went out of the company. The company was not doing well. It was a big not success, a huge unsuccess. I lost a big part of my savings from the banking days, but I was still young, and I said, do I want to go back to corporate world now? Am I ready for that? I said, no, maybe not. So I was thinking that if I wanted to go back to work for a big multinational or a big bank, I still had a few years of time. So I had one more chance maybe to try a project by myself. That's when, almost by chance, a friend of mine, Yuda, Ludmilla Kocha, she was working here back then in a branch of Jumeirah, and they were opening a restaurant, an Italian restaurant. I was in the car, and she asked me, I'm supplying all the ingredients, they want to do something different. It's the first restaurant in this way. They're looking for some special ingredients from Italy. And I was like, why not? I think I could do that. And I didn't have a company, again, no serious kind of knowledge about the F&B world. So I said, I can do it. So it was a summer, and I spoke with my father, and over that summer we spent with me, and my father was in Italy, kind of helping me coordinate. We gathered a bunch of products, fantastic products, and somehow, without a company back then, I didn't have a food distribution company. We shipped it here. And that's how we started, because then there was a lot of interest on those products. As the other company was deteriorating, so then I decided to set up a company, a food distribution, food trading company. Yeah. And then slowly I started importing some products, got my first clients, and that's how it all started. That's how Casinetto started. And Casinetto, by the way, is the name of my country house in Italy, of my farm. So it was kind of, so the whole idea is about kind of the roots and having strong roots.
And what were the main challenges you have faced while building and growing Casinetto?
Well, I mean, I think Casinetto is probably like a typical story of a typical startup in a traditional industry, not in a tech industry, right? So I didn't have any big investors, any big money behind me. Everything I did it from kind of step by step. I would say like a traditional entrepreneurs from from in Italy we had it from the 70s, from the 60s, where you start from scratch and slowly you build it. So that's how I did it. It's all by myself, bootstrapping the whole company from day one. So of course, initially the main challenges the first few years was I didn't have any infrastructure. I ran everything by myself. Some clients still, remember me going around and doing last-minute delivery myself, clearing the goods at the airport myself. Discussing with the inspector, trying to understand as I went. So it was kind of a really big learning curve at the beginning, more in terms of operations than anything else. And I had 1 year of experience with my startup, but was a bit different. So here was the first time when I really had to do everything myself in terms of really figuring out a complex regulation landscape, very operational. And so at the beginning was really how you do all these things by yourself.
Yeah.
How to run the business by yourself, navigating a complex environment, limited cash flow, no infrastructure. So I remember my first office, it was really an apartment in Sharjah.
Yeah.
And a warehouse that I rented in Guzais, because I just really wanted to, I had invested a lot of money in my previous startup, which I lost. So I was in a super budget. And so that's why I said I'm gonna get an apartment in Sharjah. I rented a space in a competitor warehouse, a competitor warehouse in Guzais for some space, and that's how it started. But then that's when the luck came in, because you always need to have a bit of luck as well in life. The luck was that exactly at that time, the previous incumbent Italian supplier kind of disappeared. Because it was sold to a competitor, they didn't manage the sale well. So there was a lack in the market for an Italian player. And that's when I was doing all these things with Sharjah. And so my business, suddenly, like from one day to another, was exploding with business. I was loaded with orders, I was running around with my car, I was still doing everything myself because, again, cash was not too much back then. So I was running around like crazy from Ras Al Khaimah to Abu Dhabi to Dubai every day. With at the beginning, like very limited also fleet. I had 1 driver and 1 car at the very beginning. So of course that was the main challenge at the beginning. It was a fantastic energy because I was still in my late 20s, early 30s. So huge energy because you start getting revenues, business starting up. So a fantastic feeling. But incredible hours, working day and night, no day off. This was the first few years. So this was been the main challenge at the beginning. Thankfully, the demand has always been there. So the revenues were there. There was a lot of interest from the clients, and they were asking me products and so on. So I think at the beginning, the first part of the company, definitely like a lot of hard work and lack of infrastructure.
And who have supported you to overcome these challenges? Who have helped you along the way?
I think in the first phase, well, for sure, my family in Italy. My father was always been a big supporter of the whole food idea. They never told me like, what are you doing? You were in banking, multinational, go back to a proper job. They never told me like, what are you doing? You did Morgan Stanley, multinational, why are you doing this? So he's always been there, and not only with words, but also like helping sourcing suppliers. With all any emergencies that I had, he would. Back then it was like this. Now of course it's totally different. But back then I would have a chef call me at midnight. Hey, I need this product, and I would call my father, and he would run to somewhere, buy it, and bring it to the airport and ship it over here. Kind of like that. That was the spirit back then. So for sure, my father has been there. Again, my former boss, Giacomo, has always been supporting me with a lot of help. Some good friends also borrowed me some money to keep up the investment, right, especially the first few years. So there's been a lot of support, and of course the clients. I managed to get some really good clients who supported me, also understanding the difficulties at the beginning in terms of when you start alone, it could have been some misservice, but they were very understanding when it came to that.
Perfect. So, sir, today we are in Casinetto. So, what kind of products does Casinetto offer?
So today, after 15 years, Casinetto is the leading Italian food supplier in the UAE. We operate mainly through the food service channel, so we sell to hotels, restaurants, and all the major restaurants and food chains that you have in the UAE. We also sell to the retail industry, so Carrefour, Spines, and all supermarkets. And we also have an online portal, it's called Casinetto.com, where we sell directly to end consumers. Casinetto today has around 3,500 products, imported mainly from Italy, but not only. So we expanded the range also to non-Italian products. So we import from Spain, from France, also from Australia, from other countries like such as Indonesia. So we have a very wide portfolio of products. It's a company, so it's with with Italian heart, but of course we also diversified into some non-Italian products.
Perfect. So, sir, as you know that success is often marked by significant milestones and impactful contributions. So what are the key achievements you are most proud of at Casinetto?
For me, it's kind of the journey, right? So starting from nothing to create something, and we also in Saudi Arabia, so to create something in the UAE and eventually in the GCC now. So, I mean, it's again typical entrepreneurs kind of mindset. It's like creating something from scratch and seeing it growing in an organized manner. So we are not anymore that kind of messy startup where I did everything. Now we have a proper organigram with a proper management structure. To see this develop is probably the biggest kind of satisfaction that I get. Of course, the revenues and the kind of the size of the business comes with that. But I think that's kind of the biggest achievement. Also, like having created a company which is growing but still keeps that kind of family, I would say. I mean, we were a big family back then, but we still now maintain that kind of friendly. I mean, I would say we are not an aggressive company in here. It's like a big family. So the culture is kind of, I think it's that we also gave to the company is one of kind of a kindness somehow. We feel when you come here it's more kind of a friendly environment. So that's also so creating like a company which is also human, I would say.
Of course. So what are the core values and philosophies here?
Well, I mean, in terms of, I think in terms of working together, we want to treat everyone with respect. I mean, no matter where you're from or how much is your salary or anything, there is no room here for kind of, arrogance towards. So it's a big family, no matter your position or your level. So that's important. So in terms of achievement, also like last month we got a prize awarded from BBC as the best cooking ingredients company. So it was a great achievement to be recognized also from some great institutions such as BBC as a valuable company in the F&B industry.
And what are the core values and philosophies here? Well,
I would say firstly, we love to treat everyone with respect here, no matter your position of what's your salary. It's a big family, so everyone is treated with respect. And with that comes like an attitude for employees where people tend to give their best all the time. We value like contributors, so we want to create people who can work independently and generate results. And in terms of values, we always kind of trying to source unique products where we have a different edge from the market, I would say.
Growth and expansion require well-planned strategies and a long-term perspective. So what are your future plans for Casinetto and how do you plan to expand into new markets?
As a kind of old school kind of entrepreneur, I always think about Casinetto as a kind of company forever. So it's like I already see my kids potentially working here in the future. So for me, when I talk about Casinetto, it's always in the long term. Short-term plans is important, but I really love to think that I'm creating an infrastructure that is solid and can accommodate growth over the many years. That's why we started Saudi only like 1 year ago. It was a big step for us. It was our first international expansion. We were not ready before because the infrastructure that we had here in terms of tech and organigram was not ready to accommodate it. As soon as we felt that the company was ready to accommodate a step outside of the UAE, we opened Saudi. It's been the first move outside of the UAE. It's been a successful one. We're doing well, and of course, what I'm doing here is really trying to set up an infrastructure again that can accommodate additional openings around the world. So it's fun to open abroad. I really enjoy it. So I think as in the next few years, for sure, we'll plan to open in GCC countries, potentially covering all of them. And why not some countries also outside of the GCC? Who knows? But for sure, the mindset is a mindset of that mindset is not a mindset of kind of staying small. It's a mindset of creating a strong infrastructure, tech, real estate, assets, etc., that can accommodate a future growth. It doesn't have to be like times 20 in 1 year. That's not how I work. It's a growth as consistent growth over the years. So that's really what I'm looking for Casinetto, opening many countries and growing it consistently.
And how does Casinetto ensure adherence to food safety regulations?
Yeah, so I mean, I have to say that the regulations here is quite straightforward. So it's complex, of course, but it's not overwhelmingly complicated. I have to say that Dubai, especially, has been very stringent, very on setting up a regulation which is not overly complicated. I have a team, of course. Now I don't have to do everything myself, so we have a strong team of people who have been in the market for a long time and regulation inside out. Everyone is well trained on the do's and don'ts in the UAE. So yeah, pretty straightforward. I have to say, having the right people at the right place. I have to say that it's quite easy to do business here in terms of regulations.
So after your faithful journey and rich experiences, you have built your success story. So the meaning of success is not strange to you. How can you define success?
Success, I have to say, it's nice to have created a brand that is recognized from people around the country and even outside in some cases, especially in Italy. So the feeling of saying, I'm the owner of Casinetto and created it, and and people are recognizing the brand, for sure gave me a lot of pride. For sure that, having created an organization which is kind of is getting to a level slowly, which is where it's self-standing somehow. It's also a big reason for me to feel proud of the job we've done over the years. Yeah, I would say that these are the main things. It's less about honestly, for me, it's always been less about, the financial side of the things. It's more about the rest. It's not really about the money. Of course, it comes with it, but it is there. The size and the revenue is growing. It's always a big satisfaction, but it's not only that.
No, sir, we need an advice from your side to young entrepreneurs.
There is different. I think what I've seen in my experience is that there is so many different entrepreneurial styles in life. So each entrepreneur has a different style. I would say that it's not necessarily like you have to be the brightest kid in the room at 10 years old to become successful. I was not. I would say that I would suggest, the kind of entrepreneur I am is kind of do your homework first, study for, listen to people, be humble, and then kind of once you have done your homework, you're strong, then put it at work with a lot of work at the beginning, and and you will achieve, whatever you wanted to achieve.
The UAE has for sure contributed to your success story. So what is your appreciation message you would like to convey through our episode to the UAE and its rulers?
Yes, I would like to thank the UAE and the rulers of the UAE for a fantastic job that they've done over the last 18 years I've been in the country. They've set up fantastic infrastructure to live very nicely and a fantastic infrastructure to do business here. I remember the roads and the whole infrastructure here when I came. Now it's a totally different setup. And also like the easiness to do business here is really incredible now. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, sir. It was my pleasure talking with you today. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Dear audience, this is the end of our episode. Watch us next week. Goodbye.